Troubleshooting sprinklers. The most common irrigation system problems associated with sprinklers are coverage problems, leaks at individual sprinklers, and obvious sprinkler failure. Symptom number 1. The turf is stressed due to inadequate or uneven water application. This can take the form of rings, dry areas, stressed plants, and other evidence of patchy water application. If the turf is stressed, something is preventing the water from reaching its destination as it was designed or should have been designed to do. The first thing to check for are physical obstacles that might be getting in the way of the water. A common problem with older systems is that the sprinklers can sink into the ground, causing the head to be too low to deliver water effectively. When you turn the system on, look at each sprinkler to make sure that it clears the turf. If the sprinklers are low, you will need to reset the sprinkler to make it level with the base of the turf. Sometimes you can raise the sprinkler simply by adding a threaded male adapter between the swing pipe fitting and the threaded outlet on the bottom of the sprinkler head to create the additional height needed. Another potential problem is a change in landscaping that causes the original design to become ineffective. This can happen if new landscaping has been installed or if plant growth has caused obstructions that were not foreseen in the original design. Sometimes you will need to move sprinklers to address the issue. However, a solution can be as simple as adding an extension to a sprinkler to help it reach over the top of a shrub. If there are no physical obstructions that explain the coverage issue in a zone, check the nozzles on the sprinklers to make sure they are correct for matched precipitation. Matched precipitation simply means that there is an even water delivery in inches per hour across the entire zone. The easiest way to address this is to use nozzles that have matched precipitation rates across all distances. For example, if your zone uses sprays, the K-Rain fully adjustable rotary nozzles have matched precipitation rates across all radii and arcs. For larger turf areas requiring the use of rotors, the K-Rain K2 Pro rotor allows you to adjust distance and flow at the same time to improve system distribution uniformity. If obstructions or matched precipitation aren't the problem, there could be a water pressure issue that is preventing the sprinklers from delivering water evenly over the area. To get an accurate reading of the pressure, you'll need to measure the operating pressure. To do this, a pitot tube is a helpful tool. It's essentially a thin metal tube that can be inserted directly into the stream of a sprinkler and attached to a pressure gauge to give a quick reading on the operating pressure at the head. Spray heads require an operating pressure of 25 psi, and rotors work best at a 50 to 60 psi range. If the pressure is too low on a single zone in a system, the zone might have too great a flow rate to maintain optimal water pressure. You can re-nozzle the zone with smaller nozzles to improve pressure, if the smaller nozzles also deliver the distance required for the zone. If all the zones on the system display pressure problems, and there is no visible leak in the system that might be causing the pressure loss, the water pressure from the city may be too low to operate the system. If it is indeed too low, your system may require a booster pump. If there are no physical obstructions, the nozzles are selected for matched precipitation, and the sprinklers have enough pressure and are working properly, it is possible that they've been installed too far apart. Measure the distance between the sprinklers to see if it is within the parameters for head-to-head spacing for a typical residential system designed with square spacing. As a general rule of thumb, sprinklers should be positioned so the water from each sprinkler reaches the next sprinklers in the zone. If the sprinkler spacing is a problem on a spray zone, you can change nozzles from spray nozzles to multiple stream rotary nozzles, such as the K-Rain fully adjustable rotary nozzles. This could increase the radius and will reduce the flow rate on the zone. If you are facing gear-driven rotors that are placed too far apart, you may need to add sprinklers or a new zone to address coverage issues symptoms. Symptom number 2. Water is leaking out of sprinklers at low points in the zone. There are two common causes for water to be leaking from a sprinkler at a low area on the zone: a problem with the sprinkler or a problem with the valve. If the leaking is intermittent and generally happens only after the zone has been run, the problem is usually the sprinkler. When the zone shuts down, all of the water and the line running to that zone flows downhill to the lowest sprinkler where it can leak out. To address this, add a check valve in the sprinkler. Manufacturers sell check valves separately or pre-installed in the check valve version of the sprinkler. If the wetting around the low sprinkler is continuous, the problem is more likely the valve. A weeping valve is one that is not fully closed and will generate a constant flow of a small amount of water that will find its way out through the lowest sprinkler in the zone. Repairing or replacing the valve will generally solve this problem. Symptom number 3. Water is leaking around a sprinkler during operation. If water is leaking from a sprinkler while it's operating, the sprinkler has been damaged in some way. To fix this problem and prevent it from occurring again, you will need to address both the problem with the sprinkler and the conditions on site that created the problem. The first thing to check is the wiper seal. The sprinkler will leak if the wiper seal is cracked, worn, or has been damaged or scored by sand. Wiper seal problems are often caused by installing the sprinkler just a bit too low. When replacing the sprinkler or the wiper seal, be sure to adjust the height of the sprinkler so it's installed correctly. The other common cause for leaks around the sprinkler is the sprinkler-to-pipe connection. Check for leaks, cracks, or other breakage. It's also a good idea to try to figure out what caused the damage and how to prevent damage in the future. Symptom number 4. The sprinkler fails repeatedly when the zone starts up. The sprinkler or turret launches out of the ground. This kind of failure is a water hammer on the sprinkler, created as the water rushes into the lines. Pressure can spike 3 or 4 times the pressure rating of the sprinkler head, damaging the sprinkler. There are 2 things you can do to address the problem. First, you can install a flow control valve that will allow you to regulate the flow to the line, making it low enough to prevent the water hammer from occurring, but not so low as to impede sprinkler performance while the zone is running. After installing the valve, start out with the flow control cranked all the way down and slowly open it up until the sprinklers are operating optimally. The second thing to mitigate the issue is to install check valves in the sprinklers on the zone. This will keep the line from draining completely between cycles, eliminating the air in the line that causes the air hammer and pressure buildup. You've seen how to diagnose and solve common sprinkler problems. If you need more information, look for our other irrigation troubleshooting videos on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/c/krain/videos, or visit www.krain.com